Hey guys, Mike here, and in this clip we're pitching one against the other perhaps the best two Android handsets of the moment, the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S4. There are plenty of things to like on these handsets, but each has its shortcomings too, so let's go ahead and find out which one is going to come on top at the end. We'll start with the one thing that clearly sets these two apart, the looks. On one side, there's the HTC One, an aluminum and ceramic coated polycarbonate device with an awesome sculpted body. The phone looks good and feels incredibly durable, and on top of that sits comfortable in hand, mainly because of its tapered back and chamfered edges that make it feel more compact than it is. On the other side there's the S4 with its plastic body and less impressive aesthetics. In fact, the S4 looks a lot like the S3, with only slight design changes, a redesigned strap around the edges, a more rectangular body and a hyper-glazed rear panel. Even so, I believe that the S4 lacks the premium feel of the HTC One. As for size and weight, the HTC One is both a bit more massive and heavier than the S4, as you can see from the specs, but I doubt you'll be bothered by that during everyday use, especially because of its tapered shape that I mentioned earlier. The S4 impresses when it comes to practical details. First, that plastic rear cover is removable and it allows access to an easily replaceable battery and microSD card slot, both missing on the HTC. Then the button layout is smarter on the S4, with a power button on the right edge, easy to press with your thumb, while on the HTC One is on top of the phone, thus you will have to use your other hand to press it. And last but not least, I should mention the controls. A physical home button lies below the screen on the S4, flanked by back and menu capacitive controls. HTC decided to place their logo in the middle though, and right now nothing happens when pressing it. Instead, they place the home button on its right and the back button on the left, completely ditching the menu key, which is annoying to say the least. But there is one particular thing you will love on the HTC, the stereo boom sound speakers hidden behind those punctured aluminum grills on the front face. Paired with Beats Audio software, the sound quality coming out of them is the best you can get from a smartphone these days. But the S4 is not that bad either, despite packing only a tiny speaker on the back. On the other hand, the S4 does bundle slightly better headphones, and many of you might care a lot about that. Anyway, let's move on and focus on the screens. Both handsets pack 1080p displays, but that's about the only resemblance between the two. On the S4 there's a 5-inch Super AMOLED panel with a pen-tile matrix, but an improved one. As a result, the screen offers impressive black and contrast levels and vibrant colors, although a bit oversaturated. On the other hand, there's a 4.7-inch screen with a Super LCD 3 panel and an RGB matrix on the HTC One, which might not offer the same blacks as the AMOLED on the Samsung, but it is astonishingly good too. The LCD panel is brighter than its competitor and displays more natural looking colors, but it trails it when it comes to viewing angles and contrast. It's also worth mentioning that the S4 is covered with Gorilla Glass 3 and uses an extra sensitive touch layer that will allow you to use it with gloves and all sorts of other objects, while the One lacks that feature and is only protected by a Gorilla Glass 2 layer. And then there's the hardware and software. Not much to say about the specs. The HTC One is powered by a Snapdragon S4 processor with 2GB of RAM and Adreno 320 graphics. The Samsung will be available in several different configurations, but the one we have here is similar to the one on the HTC, just clocked a bit higher. Either way, both got similar scores in benchmarks, and both are snappy during everyday use and can easily deal with all sorts of tasks, from taking calls to watching movies or playing games. Although there's still some occasional stuttering in both cases. Anyway, the two handsets are running Android. There's Jelly Bean 4.1 on the HTC and Jelly Bean 4.2 on the Samsung, so you do get some extra features on the S4, but the One should get an update as well pretty soon. What matters more is that neither of these offer a standard Android interface. The One comes with TouchWiz 5 UI on top, and that brings a different lock screen and app drawer, a selection of nice looking widgets and Blink Feed, a news and social signals aggregator that occupies one of the 5 home screens and displays them in a flipboard-like layout. This sounds good in theory, but it lacks customization options, so I for one ended up never using it much. There's also some useful custom software bundled with the phone, like the car and TV apps and the kids mode. The S4 comes with TouchWiz UI. This brings a new lock screen and live theme as well, multi-windowed apps, a different notification system and so on. Unlike Sense, this does bundle a selection of toggles that will come in very handy. There are also a bunch of interesting apps pre-installed, including the S apps, from the classic S-Memo or S-Voice to the brand new S-Voice Drive and S-Health, but also a TV app and group play. And then you get all the motion gestures. The S4 bundles an IR sensor on top of the screen, and that allows for new gestures like Air View that lets you interact with the screen without touching it, eye tracking, and the ability to control many apps by moving your hand in front of your phone. Anyway, each software implementation has its own particularities. Samsung does bring more features to the table, and many of you will probably appreciate at least some of them, but I for one find most of them gimmicks, and will probably end up disabling them on my S4 to get a snappy device and better battery life. Let's move on and focus a bit on the cameras. Both devices offer good front-facing shooters capable of taking 1080p videos, more than enough for video calls and chatting. For the main shooters though, HTC and Samsung took a different approach. The S4 packs a standard camera with a 13-megapixel shooter and an f2.2 lens. HTC went for something different, a 4 ultra-pixel camera with an f2.0 lens, capable of taking only 4-megapixel stills, but the pixels are bigger so should capture more details and light than the ones on the S3. There's also image stabilization for the camera on the HTC. In practice, with fair and good light shots, the S4 demolishes the One in every scenario, capturing way sharper pictures with more details. The higher resolution allows for crops as well, and when resizing the pics, the ones from the Samsung look much better than the one from the HTC. With low light shots, things are a bit of a toss-up. In most cases, the HTC is going to provide the better results, but if you have really steady hands, you can get excellent pictures with the S4 as well. Besides that, the HTC has a wider lens and also image stabilization, and that's why I found it better for taking videos, and the sound recorded with the One sounded better as well. I should also mention the camera features bundled by the two phones. The S4 borrows much from the Galaxy camera and offers filters, manual settings and a selection of shooting modes, like HDRs, panoramas, dual shot, sound and shot, drama shot, eraser, 360 and others. You're getting most of these features with the HTC as well, except for 360 and dual shot. However, while on the Samsung you have to select each mode in advance, on the HTC you get Zoe, and you can just shoot what you want to shoot and edit the results afterwards. So you're basically getting similar results, but in a more intuitive way, and that's why I did find the entire camera interface a bit friendlier on the HTC. Alright, with cameras out of the way, let's focus on batteries. There's a 2300 mAh battery on the HTC One and a slightly larger 2600 mAh one on the Samsung Galaxy S4. The one on the S4 is also removable and allows wireless charging. As for real-life performances, the two phones aren't far apart, although with my everyday use scenarios, the Samsung did last a bit longer than its rival. Even so, with average use, both can easily go through the day and might be even pushed for 2 days. Okay, we could probably keep talking about these two phones for a while, but it's better to see my dedicated reviews for the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S4 for all those extra details. For now, let's draw the line on this comparison. Although even after using these two handsets for a while, it's hard for me to say for sure which one is better. On one hand, I do appreciate the design and the overall feel of the HTC One, and I like its natural looking screen. I'm not a big fan of TouchWiz UI, but that can be easily solved with a launcher. The camera performances is however a delicate subject. Although I don't take many pictures with my phone, when I do take them, I would like them to be good. HTC said that they're working on a software upgrade that should improve fair light shots, but I'm not holding my breath on that. On the other, there's the Samsung, with its plasticky fragile body. There are other things I'm not fond of, like the oversaturated screen and all those sensors and gestures, but I could get used to the screen and I can easily turn off all those gestures. Even so, it's so difficult for me to get past that plastic, so difficult that I'd probably rather buy an HTC One, despite it having more shortcomings. Unless I could find a sleek metallic casing for the S4, that might change everything. Anyway, while I'm still torn between the two handsets, please let me know in the comments below which of these two devices you would choose and why. Plus, if you noticed any other important differences between the two that I haven't mentioned in the clip, please tell me about them below as well. With that in mind, it's time to end this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you liked it, share it to your friends and subscribe for more. I have plenty of other clips with the Galaxy S4 and the HTC One on my channel, so you might want to check them out. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.